Hey everyone, I am Tish Griffin and I am back to talk with you today about your finances, to offer tips on managing your budget, managing your money, whatever you need to do to control your spending, and dealing with collection agencies and those things that we don't even like to talk about as far as our credit report. So I'm here to offer that information to you. Feel free to use it and use this information as a resource. If you've got questions at all, you can reach out to a counselor at familycredit.org or call 800-994-3328 and get the information that you need. Ask questions about all of this information that's going around, because the one thing that I want you to do is be able to find the resources that you need to get the help that you need, because you as a consumer, you're empowered to be able to do everything you want to do on your own without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. So this is the information that you need right here. And the first thing we want to start with is just always making sure that you know that you are in control. And one way we can do that is by keeping our credit score together. We want to make sure that we focus our attention on our credit and our credit score. So keep in mind that when we have questions or we're thinking about what should we do with our credit, we used to be able to see it on our credit card statements. We may use apps such as Credit Karma or our Credit Wise that's out there to help keep things together. But first off, you need to know that your credit score and your credit report are two separate things, and they both work together to make up your credit profile and really pretty much tell if you're able to get financing, if you're able to get any type of risks, loans, whatever you want to do in your life, is largely based on your credit and your credit score. So with your credit report, we want to keep into account, with them being two separate things, we've got our report and our score. Should we just be concerned with our score? No, we should also be concerned with our report, because we want to know everything that's in that score comes from the report. So we want to make sure that that report is looking good. We might have, our score might be okay. We might think that it's okay, but something could happen and we not even know why, because we're not understanding everything that is on our report. There could be things on there that aren't yours, that you haven't seen in a long time. So we want to understand that they both work together to give your credit bureau profile. And we want to keep that strong. Starts by looking at that credit report. Now, right now, there are three major credit bureaus that we use that offer these reports. They are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. TransUnion is that bureau that's most used here in the Midwest. So a lot of times I tell people that if you're going to look at your credit report and you're going to pull your report, pay attention to what's on your TransUnion report first, because that one, keeps track of a lot of things, and that's where a lot of lenders actually look first to figure out if they are going to give you financing. So we want to make sure that we keep that bureau looking good. Then we've got Equifax and we've got Experian as well. In the future, with the changes that happen, things are going on with the government. There are changes that are being made. There are bureaus that are being closed, others that are being opened. So we want to make sure that we keep the basic functions of our finances in order. And what I mean by that is that we all know that a huge portion of our credit score is making payments on time. So we want to dedicate whatever resources that we have to making sure that we can continue to make payments on time, no matter what happens in our life. That's how we keep our score, our report stellar and strong, by being able to do that first. But we don't want to just focus solely on that. We also want to make sure that we're taking a look at the whole picture, which is why from time to time, you want to pull your actual report and make sure that everything that on it is accurate and to the best of your knowledge. So when you think about this whole report, now it could be pages and pages. It could be intimidating. It could take a lot of time to go through. That's why if you need some help with this, counselors are on standby at familycredit.org or by calling 800-994-3328. They can pull your report with you, go over it, and let you know the best course of action for you to take and what you need to do to keep things strong and keep things reporting positively. So go ahead, reach out to Family Credit. Again, 800-994-3328. That's that number. So when we're looking at the report, we've got this report and there's pages and pages. It's got lists and it's got, numbers and letters. And a lot of times it can be overwhelming and intimidating for you to read. But we want to take it and break it off into sections. Now, when you go and apply for a loan, any person that you are looking to get a loan with or establish credit with, they see a slightly different report than the one that you see. The one that you see is designed to be more consumer friendly and for you to be able to go through it and understand it. But a lot of times it's not always the case. So first thing, when you pull your actual report, you want to make sure that the first information you see is going to be your identifying information. You want to make sure that information is accurate. You want to make sure that your address is up to date. You want to make sure that the phone number listed is actually your phone number. And you want to make sure that any information as far as your birth date, the way that your name is spelled, all that information needs to be accurate. Sometimes you may get letters in the mail, you may get credit card offers, you may get bills, and they may have spelled your name wrong. I know people get my name wrong all the time. So when you're thinking about that, if it's a lender or someone looking to establish credit or maybe a medical bill that you have and they have your name wrong, a lot of times when they send information to the credit bureau to either verify who you are or to start reporting to the credit bureau, their information could override what's already on the bureaus, or you see it as an additional AKA. You may see it as an additional name or slot, and you're wondering, that's not me. How did that even get there? That would be how. This is why you want to look at your report. That's why you want to make sure that all that information there is accurate. So when you're looking at your report, make sure all that information is accurate. And then you may want to go down a little bit further where it has a summary of your information and check all of the different spellings that are listed there, all of the addresses that may not correspond with your addresses. You may see some addresses down there because guess what? Someone may have tried to take your identity, and that's where that information came from. So you want to do your due diligence and stay on top of it. When you see things like that, when you see an incorrect address reporting, take note of it. It could help you down the line. It could be something that you weren't aware of. Again, someone could have been trying to take your identity and now they've given just a glimpse. They may have put their own address there. We don't know, but we know it's not yours. And so the best thing that you can do is take stock of that. If you need to report that address, what you want to do is dispute. You want to dispute that through the credit bureaus. All your identifying information that's there, if it's wrong, you can dispute that through the credit bureaus as well, and they can update or change it for you. That's the quickest way to get that done. A lot of times, again, we don't know how some of that information got there. This is how it happens. They could have been trying to approve you for a credit card and they got your name wrong, or you could have been in the store and they said your name, or they spelled it different from how you gave it to them. It happens. And this is how we take care of that and fix that report, because we want to make an absolutely stellar report. We don't want any problems on it. We don't want any derogatory information. And of course, we want them to know that it actually is us. So check out your identifying information. The next part of that report, we've got our public records. And with public records, anything that goes through the court system will actually be reported there, or it can be reported in that area. Sometimes it doesn't, but you want to know what's on your report. And you know that anything that goes through the court system can go up there. That could be bankruptcies. It could be if a collection agency was trying to take you to court, if there's any garnishments going on, all of that information is listed there. And sometimes that information that's listed there may not even be our own. So if you see that happening, you've got a collections, you've got a public record that's listed there, make sure that it is for you, because sometimes people's names, they get confused. Someone could have a similar name or even the same name as you, and their information goes on your report. The only way for you to know that is continually look at your report. Make sure that you're doing your due diligence and staying on top of it. So yes, you do need to look at that part as well. Then when you move on, just a little, go down a little bit further. Now we've got our trade section, and typically sometimes our trades and our collection section can be intertwined. Years ago, collections were in a totally separate portion on your credit report. Now they're blending in with the trades. And with the trades is just a line of credit or a credit card. You can have an auto loan, student loan, and it lists the details of that information. Now the details that are documented there are for years and years, but it typically only shows the last 24 to 36 months worth of history in that section. I'm pointing this out because when you think about it, again, that report and the score work hand in hand, right? So your actual score only looks at the last 24 months worth of history now. So that way you can see why your score fluctuates, because you're looking at the trade lines and it's showing your activity. It shows your actual activity. And what I mean by that is it shows that if payments were made each and every single month, it shows if there was a month that a payment was late. It shows that when the account was brought back current. It shows all of that information. So it'll show that your accounts are current and they're up to date. And then it might jump to past due and then back to current. But if you know that something happened within those last 24 months, you can pinpoint when your score fell by paying attention to this information as well. Our scores take into account a lot of different things. So we want to make sure that our trade lines are reporting correctly. You want to make sure that the trade lines or the accounts that you show reporting are actually your accounts too, because it could be that someone else's information has gotten mixed in with yours. Doesn't happen as much anymore, but we do continue to see that happening. So you want to make sure that that information that's reported is accurate, that is yours, that the balances that are being reported are accurate as well. Now, when you look at your report and you actually pull it on your own and you're seeing it for yourself, the information should be accurate within the last 30 days. And it's important to know that because we may have made the payment and it's not showing up there. Our account balance isn't showing like we wanted to. But if we keep in mind that, oh yes, I did make that payment last week, it just has not shown up yet. And so then you'll know that you're okay, because once it actually does report, your score should increase. And you can anticipate that and know that because you did this, because you made your payment, because you paid that account off, hey, that's going to really make your score better. So yes, we want to make sure that our credit limits are reporting the correct credit limits as well. Some people were alerted to their credit limits being reduced by actually looking at their report and seeing it from there, as to where they were thinking that they may have had a $15,000 credit limit. They went to look at their report and it only shows $2,000. So we want to make sure that causes some red flags. You want to give them a call and say, hey, what's going on? My credit limit should be $15,000 and it's only $2,000. What happened? And that way you are better prepared for the future. You're better prepared for knowing what's in your score. And you'll see, oh yeah, my score fell because my credit line was reduced. But why was it reduced? Let me go back, do some investigation and see why that happened, and do what you need to do to make things better for the future. Be it that this was a fluke, then you know, okay, I need you to update my credit report. And yes, you can ask your creditors to update your credit reports. If you know something that is on your report is not right, it's not accurate, you can call the credit card companies, find out, you want to find out where their credit reporting department, you want to talk to somebody there in the credit reporting department and ask them to update it or change it. Sometimes you may have to send an email or send a letter to have that in writing, but nowadays you should be able to do that by phone. Again, I caution you, if you do that, keep track of who you talked to, what time you spoke, and what all was said. Very important for you as a consumer to be able to protect yourself. So we've got our trades information, we've got all this information on there. The next thing that you want to pay attention to is the last date or the date of recent activity. Very important field. If you are dealing with collection agencies and you're struggling with charged off accounts or even your regular credit card accounts, you want to make sure that all that information that's reporting is reporting accurate. So if you know that you've paid your payments each and every single month and it's saying that they haven't received a payment, you should be able to either pinpoint why or find that payment so that it can be reported correctly. And things do happen, so you want to keep that in mind. Things do happen, but it can be corrected and you have the power to tell them to do so. So yes, call the creditors if there's something on your report that is not right and have them update your credit bureau report, because they really can do that. Another thing that you want to pay attention to in the trade section is you want to make sure that you're looking at the right creditor as well. A lot of times with the different creditors, the different stores, everyone changes banks. It used to be that an account may have been listed with GE Capital, then it went to Synchrony, then it went to WFNB, then they went to somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to the most recent trade. Now, a lot of times, if you were to get a new account number from, let's say you had your Victoria's Secret, and that account, you got a new account number, new card for some reason because maybe they switched banks. Now, the new bank will be reporting that information instead of the old one. So you may see where it stops from one to the other. And sometimes it can affect you, but you want to make sure that you know why that's happening. And you want to make sure that when you get that new account and you're using it, you want to make sure that they are reporting just like the old account did. The downside is if they do that, a lot of times your history is kind of in limbo or it might be lost. May affect your score, but it shouldn't really affect things. Just make sure that new creditor that's coming on, they know when your account opened. Sometimes they will report when the account opened with them, when they bought the account. When you know you may have had this card for 15 years. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to that and asking them to update that information that's wrong on your report to fix it, and that way your score can stay healthy and strong. Again, our score and our report, they work together, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping everything that we can in order. So we're going to be checking our actual report, not just paying attention to the score, because yes, the score is important, but we've got all these underlying factors that affect things. And if we know about these factors ahead of time, we know where things stand, then we're better able to prepare ourselves for the future. The next section on that credit report, we talked about the trades. The next thing you want to pay attention to is the actual inquiry section. And a lot of people struggle and they stress because they see an inquiry on your credit report. Now, inquiries are on your credit report. They are a part of your credit report. And what an inquiry is just where you have tried to get credit. If you wanted somebody to extend you credit, be it a bank, you wanted to get an auto loan, you wanted to get a home, you wanted to get a credit card, you initiate the okay for outside vendors to pull your credit report and to establish you credit. Now, it's when you initiate it that it affects your score. Okay? Now, if Capital One wants to send you or Discover wants to send you a bunch of mail saying, hey, you're pre-approved, you've been pre-qualified, let them do that. It does not affect your score for promotional. But it's the moment that you open that letter and you say, okay, I think I want to get this. I think I want to do this. I'll let them pull my credit report. That is when it affects you. Now, each inquiry typically affects you maybe 2 to 6 points, depending on why you're getting it and what you're doing. But the thing is, inquiries, they don't really factor a whole lot into your score, because an inquiry they can stay on your report for 3 years, for up to 3 years. Most lenders, most finance companies, most places, they remove it after 2. But here's the cool part. Even though it's there for 2 years, it's not factored into your score after the first 12 months. Eye-opening moment right there. After 12 months, that inquiry does not have any effect on your credit score at all. Meaning that you might have a list of 20 inquiries, and once you reach that 12-month mark, it's not factored into your score. So you can go out and you can look for a home. You can look for financing for a car. And all inquiries within a 30 to 45 day time period, as long as it's for the same thing, for the same reason, only count as one hit against your score. So what does that mean for you? That means that if you go and apply for an auto loan, and let's say auto lenders, they send your information to some of everybody. You'll see all of those places. They can send it to 15 different places. When you pull your credit report, you'll see those 15 places listed. But as long as they're within a certain time frame of that 30 to 45 days, and it's all for the same thing, one hit, just one hit against your score. That's right, one hit. When you're looking at your score, when you're looking at the inquiries, and there's a separate session on your actual credit report that you can get, which will show your promotional inquiries as well, meaning that you did not initiate contact. When you see that, don't panic. This just means that everybody who's actually pulled your information to try and give you credit, they didn't get the full snapshot or the full picture because you didn't give them permission to look at it. Case in point, when companies or let's say credit card companies, when they buy information or they get information from the credit bureau, they go to the credit bureau and say, hey, I need the address and name and address for everyone that lives in 60644 that has at least 3 children that own their own homes or rent or however they put it. And then what happens is the bureaus will send them a snapshot of who you are. It does not send your full report. The only way that they get access to that full report is if you grant them access. So a lot of times you'll see on this offer where it says that pending credit approval or pending your request or call this number to give us permission. They haven't gotten your permission yet. So it's okay for you to tear that up and throw it in the garbage because it's not going to affect your score. It didn't affect anything. So that's good news that I wanted to share with you. When you're thinking about these things, sometimes we panic over the wrong things. And I have seen people panic and struggle and talking about getting inquiries removed from their credit report when they don't even have an effect on your credit report like you would think. The most important things are the trades which are reporting, because guess what? They look at the last 24 months worth of history. Even though they're there, they've got years and years worth of information. That score, looking at the report, getting the information from the report, it only looks at the last 24 months worth of history. So it could care less what was there before, as long as you have enough positives to counteract any negatives. That is what matters. That's what you should be concerned with. Let's see, if we've got all this negative information, we've got these things that have popped up on our credit report, we've got collection agencies, medical bills, and we don't know which way to turn. It's okay. Let's take a step back, reassess everything, reevaluate everything, and then let's make a plan. We may have some old information that we don't even need to touch, accounts that are older than 2 years, and we can do our due diligence and come back to those later. But for right now, we want to look at what's affecting us now. And that's the things within the last within the last 24 months worth of history. That's where we want to look at what happened right now, not what happened back then. Because if we can strengthen what happened right now, if we can correct it, if we can fix it, then everything in the future will be so much better for us and so much easier. So you want to pay attention to those trades, not so much on the inquiries. Know that they're there. Know that, yes, I actually did that. I initiated this. I wouldn't have my credit report ran by these people, and then you're fine. But if you notice some that you actually did not do, it's not a promotion, and it looks fishy, then you do want to dispute that on your credit report. The way for you to handle a dispute is to go right to the Education Center on those credit bureaus' websites. So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian all have their own websites. You can go to the Education Center and open up a dispute right there and get that off of your credit report. Get that information together and fix your report so that it is not really muddied. Now, I do want to caution you, you want to be careful with disputes, because when disputes are done, they're not factored into your credit score. So you might think you're doing something better or you have a better report, and it's just because right now that mask has to go on. So you want to keep that in mind and make sure that you're paying attention to the dates on your credit report, paying attention to your minimum balances, paying attention to your credit limits, the dates that the accounts were open. We've talked about a lot of key factors that we want to make sure. But if you're looking to get your credit report, the best place that you can go is to annualcreditreport.com. Yes, annualcreditreport.com, because that's where you can get your free report. You can get access to all 3 bureaus and set up an account to pull that information there. So if you have any other questions, if you're struggling to pull your report, keep your finances together, reach out to a counselor at familycredit.org or call 800-994-3328. Yes, I want you to be your best self and keep all this information. Use it, make yourself better, strengthen your profile by strengthening your report, which strengthens your score. Keep all of that in mind, and we will be back again next time to talk with you more about your finances, your budgeting, investing, and all those other topics. Have a great day. Take care.